All right, absolutely incredible. That was a clip of Dr. Mei Rui, an internationally acclaimed concert pianist and brain researcher. We've often heard that classical music is good for the brain, and Dr. Rui joins us now with more on that concept. Also a very special performance you can catch at Asia Society, Texas. Dr. Rui, welcome to Houston Life.
Thank you so much.
What an honor to meet you. I went down a rabbit hole watching videos of you performing on YouTube. Your talent absolutely blew me away. You started playing the piano at the age of 3, a native of Shanghai in China. You were accepted to the Shanghai Conservatory of Music at age 6. Later in life, you became a Yale-trained molecular biochemist with dual degrees in molecular biophysics and biochemistry and music. We're seeing some photos on our screen, by the way, of your earliest years at the keyboard. At what point did you realize that your passion for music and medicine were colliding?
That's a great question. Looking back, I think it was during my teenage years, and my family immigrated to the US when I was 14 years old. And there was a great sense of loneliness. And so I remember music at that point, it became a lot more than just, practicing or competing. And it really I would, like a lot of musicians would do, it became a source of medicine and healing for myself.
Oh, how interesting.
So during the high school years, I also, I did a lot of volunteering, nursing homes, just performing, and seeing the very visceral and direct impact some of my performances would have on the attendees. And these performances would be very different from one, in front of 2,000 people in a large concert hall. But these more intimate performances, they meant a lot to me at that time. It was the human connection and just talking to them and seeing sometimes tears in the audience's eyes.
That's really beautiful. And I think a lot of us, Dr. Rui, can relate to being moved by a musical performance. We enjoy it, it's pleasant. But what's incredible is you have actually spent years of your life doing the research. And there's not just a little bit of science to back up your research. There's a lot of science that shows classical music specifically does reduce our stress, does help us relax. In fact, you've been called a pioneer in music medicine. So when you started this research journey, what were you really setting out to achieve?
I guess with my background as a molecular biochemist, I love seeing the interconnectedness of things. And for example, a note on a page from a piece of music, to me, it's very analogous to like a molecule. How molecule, you have all molecules, they make up a protein, they make up an organism. And then for a piece of music, we have notes, and measures, and then they make a beautiful piece of music. So looking at things on a very mechanistic level and on a very basic science level was something that started fascinating me when I was in high school, then at Yale University, where I received the training. But later on, just seeing the explosion in the field of music medicine, specifically being able to quantitatively capture the immersive impact that music has on our brain, on our physiology, on stress hormones, in our blood, on the plasma and serum level, that really blew my mind. I remember my reaction to it was, wow, I knew this intuitively as a professional musician. But as a researcher and a scientist, just being able to really get to the bottom of it, looking at the neural pathways and the mechanisms, and really have a very deep understanding and be able to explain that and to...
That's it, and it's fascinating. You said you knew this intuitively, but then to have the science and the data back it up. Describe to us what we're seeing on the screen, because you're wearing a device on your head while performing in front of an audience here in this video.
That was from our recent concert experiment, and here you see I'm wearing a wireless dry electrode EEG headset. So the advantage of that, the reason I chose that versus a more traditional wet gel set, this was, I was able to recruit a volunteer participant on the spot and have the audience visualize his reaction to the music. So what you're seeing is that the audience was able to visualize me as a performer and also the participant reacting to the performance in the second half of the concert. So there, you can see these electrodes, and they will transmit kind of electric signals.
Okay.
And when we're performing, the different regions in the brain may get activated. If you're thinking of the communication areas, right? When we're playing more lyrical, expressive melody, or when we're playing more technical in the virtuosic, a lot of fast, impressive sounding passages where the activation is actually more localized in the motor regions. So be able to see kind of the progression and the movement of the brain activity, I think will be fascinating.
It is. I mean, I can imagine it would be fascinating to see the direct impact on the brain. And you were calling this concert experiment that's happening at Asia Society Texas tonight. The viewers can actually come to your performance at 7:30 p.m. where this same type of experiment will be taking place. So describe to us what will happen. You'll be performing while wearing a headset and measuring your brain waves, but then the audience will have the opportunity to see their brain waves as well.
That's correct, yes. I'm very thrilled to be collaborating with two truly world-renowned musicians, Nicholas Arias and Chu Liangling. So I will be, in the first piece, I will be wiring one of the musicians. And in the second half of the concert, if you attend, I'll be recruiting a participant on the spot from the audience.
Wow.
So we'll be able to see it from both sides. And in clinical cohorts, this is very important because we want to, for example, see the impact of the music on cancer patients on cognitive impairment or in dementia. So we want to be able to see from both the peak human performance side and also from the healing side of things as well.
The work that you're doing, Dr. Ray, I think really is incredible. And we've often heard of expectant mothers putting headphones on their bellies so their child in utero can listen to classical music.
I did that. I have a 6- and a 9-year-old.
You did that for your children?
Yes, and a lot of it was, I didn't even have to put headphones, I performed very actively throughout my pregnancy. And especially my son, he was so active, like I could never sleep because at night he would do acrobatics. But whenever I was actively performing, he would be very calm and just very still throughout the 90-minute concert.
That is absolutely fascinating. Well, listen, I could spend an hour chatting with you, Dr. Ray. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but we do want to tell our viewers to get on out to Asia Society tonight, 7:30 p.m. There's the address on your screen. And the event is called Brain on Beethoven. This is all to celebrate Beethoven's birthday, by the way, coincidentally, because Beethoven was born in December of 1770. So folks, find a link and your tickets and more info about this performance by visiting our website, HoustonLife.tv, and look for that scene on Houston Life section. And Dr. Mei Rui, it is such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Derrick. It's so wonderful.
Best of luck with tonight's performance. All right, don't go away. Houston Life will be right back.